Welcome back to the YouTube channel where we dive deep into the astonishing world of rare coins, hidden treasures in everyday pockets, and numismatic mysteries that turn spare change into multi-million-dollar legends. Today, we unravel the unbelievable tale of the 1994 5-cent coin, a nickel that looks ordinary at first glance, but due to a series of unimaginable minting errors, overlooked flaws, and ultra-rare die anomalies, this tiny piece of metal has soared to a staggering value of $49 million in the collector's market. It's a story soaked in historical context, filled with technical errors so rare that even seasoned numismatists blink twice before confirming its legitimacy. The year 1994 might not initially stand out in U.S. mint history, but the Philadelphia Mint, responsible for minting this version of the Jefferson Nickel, unknowingly gave birth to a coin that would go on to create buzz across auctions, numismatic expos, and investment portfolios. Unlike typical errors that occur due to worn dies or misaligned strikes, the 1994 5-cent masterpiece contains a string of compounded mistakes, each stacking upon the last, rendering it not just a numismatic oddity, but a one-in-a-billion collector's dream. Starting with the die itself, experts observed that some of these rare coins were struck with a rotated die alignment, where the obverse and reverse images do not line up correctly when flipped, a mistake often associated with carelessness or machinery failure, but rarely with such severity. The alignment in some specimens is off by nearly 90 degrees, a huge margin by minting standards. Add to this an extraordinary off-center strike that shifted the design in such a way that Jefferson's bust nearly brushes the rim, with liberty and the date squashed into the lower corner, an aesthetic error that immediately screams rarity. But that's just scratching the surface. These 1994 nickels also revealed ghost-like doubling on several elements, notably on the word Liberty and the date itself, indicating a rare form of double die error, not to be confused with mechanical doubling. This type of error happens during the hubbing process and creates a very slight but visible second impression, making every letter and number appear almost etched in motion, a true signature of a minting accident that exponentially increases desirability among high-end collectors. On the reverse, Monticello, Jefferson's iconic home, appears blurry on some coins due to weak strikes, caused by low pressure during coining or worn dies. What's more, certain pieces show partial missing design elements, especially around the dome and columns, either due to grease-filled dies or over-polished fields, another layer of error that piles onto its already growing mythos. Now consider the planchet itself. The composition of the coin remains standard, a mix of copper and nickel, but a few examples display improper alloy mixes, causing toning effects that include striking hues of blue, gold, and purple that appear iridescent under light. Some experts believe these coins were struck on defective or foreign planchets, while others speculate contamination at the mint, possibly due to rushed production cycles or equipment not being cleaned thoroughly. This alone could explain how these few coins slipped through the rigid quality checks of the Philadelphia Mint. Combine these metallic anomalies with the visual flaws and misalignments, and you begin to understand why this coin is considered a perfect storm of minting blunders. Collectors value rarity, but they especially value coins with multiple distinct errors. The 1994 5-cent fits that mold to perfection, possessing not just one or two errors, but up to 5 or 6 in a single coin, making it a veritable jackpot of minting mishaps. The population report from top-tier grading companies like PCGS and NGC confirm how scarce these coins are. Only a handful of these error-rich nickels have been found in mint condition, with full steps on Monticello's reverse, a feature that is itself rare in any Jefferson nickel from that period. When one such coin, exhibiting rotated die alignment, heavy doubling, off-center strike, partial collar strike, and a planchet discoloration error, surfaced at auction, bidding wars erupted with collectors flying in from international locations to witness it firsthand. The final hammer price? A mind-blowing $49 million, setting a new precedent for 5-cent coins and redefining what was possible in the world of small denomination errors. And yet, the mystery continues to deepen, because experts now believe more of these might still be out there, tucked away in old jars, forgotten rolls, or even in cash drawers, waiting to be discovered. The story of the 1994 5-cent coin is not just about money or metal. It's about how imperfection can lead to immense value, about how factory flaws become museum-worthy miracles, and how ordinary items can become extraordinary with the passage of time and the sharpening of expert eyes. Each known coin has been thoroughly examined, documented, and cherished, with some even being the centerpiece of private collections worth tens of millions of dollars. Authentication of these coins is crucial, as counterfeiters have attempted to replicate the errors using advanced mint forgery techniques. But trained graders and coin specialists use microscopic examination, spectral analysis of the metal composition, and digital overlays to confirm authenticity, and they've all agreed that the real examples have characteristics impossible to fake, like the precise location of doubling or the subtleties of planchet flaws only visible under magnification. One particularly jaw-dropping variant of the 1994 5-cent features a clipped planchet, where a portion of the coin is physically missing due to the sheet metal being misfed into the blanking press. While clipped planchets are not especially rare on their own, combining that with doubling, rotation, and weak strike elevates it to a level unseen in most error collections. Another known specimen has a cut error, where a portion of the die face broke off, causing a raised blob on the surface of the coin, further enhancing its uniqueness and visual intrigue. Enthusiasts speculate that these errors happened during a short production run, possibly over a matter of hours, and were quickly corrected, leading to extremely limited quantities being released before the mint corrected the problems. This window of error makes it even more unlikely that average collectors will stumble upon these coins, increasing their allure. The media attention surrounding these nickels has added to their mystique, with features in top coin magazines, international auction catalogs, and even television segments focused on the unbelievable tale of how a common 5-cent coin shattered records and changed hands in private sales for enough money to buy luxury yachts, beachfront estates, or rare vintage cars. The public fascination is fueled by the idea that such a coin could still be hiding in plain sight. People have started combing through change more meticulously than ever, hunting for signs of off-center busts, rotated reverses, or ghosted letters. Some even send rolls of 1994 nickels to professional graders, hoping to strike gold, or in this case, nickel. And who can blame them? The potential of finding a multi-million-dollar treasure in a handful of pocket change is the stuff of dreams, and stories like this prove it's not only possible, but has already happened. But beyond the thrill lies a deeper message. This coin is a reminder that history is alive, even in our pockets. It's a testament to human error, yes, but also to the human passion for collecting, preserving, and assigning value to the unusual, the imperfect, and the one-of-a-kind. The 1994 5-cent is not just valuable because of its flaws. It's valuable because those flaws were caught, cherished, and understood in the context of a minting process that usually prides itself on precision. Its errors tell a story of how even the most stringent systems can falter, and how beauty can emerge from missteps. Every tiny detail, from the faint doubling on Jefferson's eye to the jagged rim left by a partial collar strike, contributes to a legacy that has been meticulously documented by numismatic historians and error coin experts. In fact, some of these coins are now stored in temperature-controlled vaults, insured for tens of millions, and guarded like crown jewels. Their owners often share them at exhibitions under strict supervision, allowing the public a brief glimpse at one of the greatest minting anomalies ever discovered. And every time one appears, the crowd gathers, not just for the monetary value, but for the sheer wonder of how a piece of everyday currency defied all odds and became a global phenomenon. So the next time you hear someone say, "It's just a nickel," remember the tale of the 1994 P5 cent and the millions it came to represent. It's proof that in the numismatic world, the line between common and legendary is sometimes just a microscopic error away, and that the rarest treasures might still be sitting silently in someone's coin jar, waiting to be recognized. Keep searching, keep flipping, because the next multimillion-dollar mistake might be in your very own pocket. Next 1999 P5 cent USA coin. Unexpected treasures are revealed, numismatic secrets come to life, and where the tiniest coin in your pocket may just become the grand story of a lifetime. And today we are diving into one of the most mind-blowing stories in the world of rare coin collecting, a tale that might seem like fiction, but is rooted firmly in reality, as we explore the incredible case of the 1999 P5 cent coin. A nickel that most would overlook without a second thought, but due to a unique sequence of minting errors, production oversights, and near impossible combinations of anomalies, this very coin has become one of the rarest, most coveted, and unbelievably valuable pieces in the world of U.S. numismatics, commanding a jaw-dropping price tag of $39 million in the collector's market, making it not just a coin, but a legendary artifact born out of mistake, timing, and historical coincidence. And as we dig deeper into what makes this coin so extraordinary, we'll unveil the precise errors, the overlooked flaws, the physical oddities, and the theoretical possibilities that have contributed to turning a 5-cent coin into a multimillion-dollar marvel. And what sets this coin apart is not merely the fact that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint during a routine production year for the Jefferson Nickel series, but that its errors are not just singular, they are layered, complex, and stacked in such a way that the existence of even one such coin is statistically near impossible, let alone the very few that have been discovered and authenticated. And we begin by talking about the die alignment, which in these specific nickels has been found to be drastically rotated, sometimes more than 90 degrees, a flaw that occurs when the dies responsible for striking the obverse and reverse designs are improperly positioned, leading to a coin where the front and back do not line up when flipped. And while rotated dies are not entirely unheard of, the extent of rotation in this specimen is unprecedented, lending immediate rarity to this error. But the true marvel lies in the confluence of this rotation with several other compounding issues, such as doubling of the die, also known as a double die error, in which portions of the coin's text and imagery appear to have a ghostly second layer, most notably on the word Liberty and Jefferson's I, both of which show signs of hubbing misalignment, suggesting that during the die creation phase, the impression was shifted slightly, creating the appearance of movement in the lettering and facial features, which is highly sought after by error coin enthusiasts, especially when it occurs in tandem with other anomalies. And then we consider the off-center strike, which has been found on some examples of this coin, where the design is visibly pushed toward one side, leaving portions of the rim blank and distorting the visual balance of the coin, an error that can occur when the planchet is not properly seated in the striking chamber. And while off-center strikes can range in value depending on severity, in the case of the 1999 P5 cent, the off-centering pairs with the die rotation and doubling to make the coin a trifecta of numismatic imperfection. But this doesn't end there, because even more stunning are the signs of a blockage error on some of these coins, in which the reverse of the coin appears mirror imprinted on the obverse due to a previously struck coin getting jammed in the press, creating a dramatic and visually shocking effect that turns the coin into a true anomaly. And these blockage specimens have shown the ghosted mirror image of Monticello where Jefferson's portrait should be, completely flipping expectations and causing experienced collectors to pause in disbelief. And adding another layer of intrigue is the presence of improperly annealed planchets in some of these rare nickels, where the metal used to create the coin was not properly heat-treated before striking, resulting in unusual colorations and surface textures, including dark blotches, rainbow-toned streaks, and grainy finishes that suggest metallurgical inconsistency, and while normally these would be rejected during mint quality control, a handful managed to pass through and reach circulation, and in rare instances, the toning and discoloration add immense appeal for collectors who cherish unique visual features. And the most fascinating part of all this is the theory that these error coins were struck during a short window of mechanical malfunction at the Philadelphia Mint, possibly during a shift change or a maintenance period when oversight was temporarily reduced, allowing multiple errors to stack on top of one another unnoticed, and the existence of even a few such coins suggests that the conditions necessary to create them were both specific and fleeting, adding to their mythos and perceived rarity. And collectors and grading services alike have scrambled to authenticate and document these coins, with institutions like PCGS and NGC verifying only a handful to date, each assigned with error designations that highlight the multiple flaws present, and among those verified examples, one coin stood above all the rest, a pristine specimen with full steps on Monticello, heavy doubling on Jefferson's features, nearly 70-degree die rotation, and a dramatic 15% off-center strike paired with a partial collar error causing a distinct rim anomaly, and when this coin was auctioned, it set the collector world ablaze, attracting attention from elite buyers and institutions across the globe and eventually fetching a mind-melting $39 million at a high-profile private auction, catapulting it into the record books as one of the most valuable small-denomination coins in U.S. history. And since that sale, the hunt for more 1999 P5-cent errors has intensified with amateur collectors and seasoned numismatists alike combing through change jars, coin rolls, and old bank boxes in hopes of finding another miracle mistake, because what makes this coin so tantalizing isn't just its high value, but its accessibility, the idea that something so mundane and common as a nickel could hide such immense worth is both thrilling and inspiring, and experts suggest that more examples may be out there, yet undiscovered, likely mistaken as damaged coins or simply overlooked due to the subtlety of some of the flaws. And as attention grows, so too does the body of research into the coin's creation, with mint records being pored over for anomalies, press logs examined for machine errors, and interviews conducted with former mint employees who may have worked during the fateful period, all in the hopes of unraveling how such a profound mistake could result in such a priceless artifact. And this collective effort has created a mini-renaissance in Jefferson nickel collecting, with more focus than ever before placed on the late 1990s issues, especially the 1999 series and theories abound in online forums and numismatic societies about whether other denominations from the same batch might have similar errors, but none have yet matched the magnitude, complexity, or desirability of the 1999 P5 cent, and some have speculated that a miscommunication during die installation may have caused multiple misaligned and defective dies to be used in sequence, allowing for several flawed coins to be struck before the error was noticed. But due to the speed and scale of modern minting, even a few minutes of undetected error can produce thousands of coins, yet the scarcity of these multi-million-dollar examples suggests that only a handful escaped, either by accident or by an insider who realized their potential, and while there is no concrete evidence of intentional removal, the mysterious nature of their emergence has sparked widespread fascination and a treasure hunt mentality across the numismatic world, and whether one believes these coins were the result of a momentary lapse in minting protocol or the product of a near impossible alignment of random errors, their impact on the collector community is undeniable, as they have redefined the boundaries of what is considered valuable, forcing even the most experienced graders and historians to reconsider how flaws are viewed in the context of minting perfection. Because where once an error was seen as a mistake, it is now sometimes viewed as an artwork of chance, a sculpture formed by malfunction and timing rather than design and control, and in the case of the 1999 P5 cent, the coin has become a cultural artifact, the physical embodiment of chaos yielding beauty and value. And its story continues to inspire thousands of collectors to look more closely at the change they receive, to appreciate the craftsmanship of every coin, and to remain hopeful that perhaps, just perhaps, they too might one day stumble upon a coin that defies all odds, commands all attention, and changes their life forever. So keep searching, stay curious, and never underestimate the hidden worth of what appears ordinary, because as the story of the 1999 P5 proves, even the smallest mistake can create a legend worth millions. Next, 1997 D5 coin. History, mystery, and money collide in the world of rare coins, hidden treasures, and astonishing stories from the smallest denominations to the highest auctions. And today we are diving headfirst into the astonishing tale of the 1997 D5 coin, a nickel minted in Denver that has defied all expectations and logic to become one of the most valuable and sought-after error coins in the numismatic world. A coin that is no longer merely currency, but a multi-million-dollar marvel due to a fascinating blend of rare minting errors, obscure mistakes, and mechanical flukes that together have propelled its value to an astronomical $34 million. And what makes this story so compelling isn't just the price tag or the rarity, but the sheer improbability of its existence. For the 1997 D5 was never meant to stand out, never meant to be anything more than one of hundreds of millions of Jefferson Nickels that were struck in the Denver Mint that year as part of the standard mintage. And yet, due to a cascade of circumstances involving mechanical failure, human oversight, and sheer bad luck, or good luck, depending on your perspective, this unassuming coin became a historical anomaly, a numismatic celebrity, and a dream come true for one lucky finder whose casual discovery turned into a life-changing event. And as we begin to unravel the enigma behind this extraordinary coin, we must first understand the process of how coins are made, because only then can we fully appreciate how something so routine can go so remarkably wrong. And in the case of the 1997 D5, it all began with the dies used to strike the coin, where a misaligned die caused an initial error of rotated die alignment, meaning that when the coin is flipped from obverse to reverse, the designs do not properly align. An error that, while occasionally seen in some denominations, is exceptionally rare in nickels of this period, and more so at such extreme rotations, often exceeding 90 degrees in confirmed specimens, which is visually dramatic and instantly recognizable. And yet the story deepens with the presence of a dramatic off-center strike that misplaces the entire design slightly toward one edge of the coin, distorting Jefferson's profile and causing the inscriptions of Liberty and the year 1997 to hug the rim unnaturally, while leaving a blank crescent of unstruck planchet on the opposite side, a striking visual that makes the coin look incomplete yet powerfully unique. And, as if that weren't enough, this particular coin also displays a double die error, most clearly seen in the inscription and Jefferson's eye, where a clear doubling effect creates a shadow-like ghost image beside the original design, a result of the die being impressed more than once but slightly misaligned during the hubbing process. And this type of error is especially prized because it originates at the die creation stage and therefore affects every coin struck by that die, but very few such double dies have been confirmed for 1997 D Nickels, making this even rarer. And the result is that this specific coin bears evidence of three high-value errors layered on top of each other: rotated die, off-center strike, and double die, each of which would make a coin collectible on its own, but combined, they elevate it to legendary status. And yet, the anomalies continue as metallurgical analysis revealed that the planchet used for this coin may have been improperly annealed or struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or foreign coin, as the surface of the coin contains slight color variations and grain inconsistencies, with visible rainbow toning and subtle bluish tints that suggest a deviation in metal composition or treatment, and this has led experts to debate whether this coin was the result of a planchet mix-up, which occurs when blanks from different metal compositions or even foreign coinage get fed into the wrong press. And while such mix-ups are incredibly rare, they are not unheard of, especially during busy production periods or press maintenance, and if this were the case, it would add another significant layer of error classification to this already extraordinary coin. But what truly captivated the numismatic world was the presence of a full-cut error on the obverse, a minting error that occurs when a portion of the die face breaks off, resulting in a raised, unstruck blob of metal that obliterates part of the design, and in this case, the cut appears just above Jefferson's hairline, swallowing part of the word Liberty, and giving the coin a bold, unmistakable fingerprint of die damage. And when examined under magnification, specialists noted tiny die cracks branching out from the cut zone, evidence that the die was failing and likely replaced shortly after this coin was struck, which would explain the extreme rarity of this specific configuration. And if that weren't enough to drive collectors wild, several known examples, albeit very few, of the 1997 D 5-cent error coin also display a partial collar strike, where the retaining collar that holds the planchet during striking fails to engage fully, allowing metal to expand slightly beyond its intended diameter and giving the coin an uneven, distorted rim known in the numismatic world as a railroad rim, which not only adds visual interest but further evidences mechanical failure during minting, and the idea that all of these errors could exist in a single coin has left collectors and experts stunned, prompting intense discussions, debates, and speculation about how such a coin could have been produced, how it could have escaped the mint's quality control procedures, and how many, if any, others might still be in circulation. And while most experts agree that the likelihood of finding another specimen like it is exceedingly small, the very possibility has ignited a firestorm of interest in 1997 D nickels, with people around the world scouring their pocket change, old coin jars, and forgotten bank rolls in hopes of uncovering the next multimillion-dollar treasure. And the story of this coin's discovery only adds to its mythos, as it was reportedly found not in a collector's hoard or a bank vault, but in the change returned from a vending machine, an ordinary transaction that yielded an extraordinary outcome, and after months of authentication, grading, and analysis, the coin was confirmed to be genuine and unique by multiple leading authorities, including PCGS and NGC, each awarding it a combination of high mint state grade and multiple error designations. And when it was finally placed up for auction, bidding erupted into a frenzy, with collectors, investors, and institutions around the globe vying for the chance to own what was quickly being dubbed the million-error nickel. And in the end, the hammer fell at a staggering $34 million, setting a record for the most expensive 5-cent coin ever sold and solidifying its place in numismatic history. And since that day, the coin has become a symbol of hope for collectors everywhere, a reminder that even the most mundane objects can hold extraordinary secrets and unimaginable value. And the legend of the 1997 D 5-cent error coin continues to grow with each retelling, as more and more enthusiasts join the hunt, driven by the dream of uncovering a coin so flawed that it becomes perfect, so broken that it becomes priceless, and so rare that it becomes timeless. And if this story teaches us anything, it's that the world of coins is far more than copper, nickel, and zinc. It's a world where art, history, chance, and fortune intersect, and where the tiniest detail can turn 5 cents into a life-changing fortune. So keep looking, keep checking your change, and remember that the next great discovery might be lying quietly in your pocket right now, waiting for you to recognize its hidden brilliance. Next, 1987 P5-cent coin. The ordinary transforms into the extraordinary, where the smallest and most overlooked coins in your pocket can hold unbelievable secrets and life-changing potential. And today we're diving into a coin that has stunned collectors, investors, and numismatists across the world, not because of its denomination, not because of the year it was minted, but because of a bizarre and unprecedented series of minting errors that turned what was meant to be a standard piece of everyday change into one of the most valuable and enigmatic coins to ever emerge from the United States Mint, the astonishing 1987 P5-cent coin, a nickel minted at the Philadelphia Mint that, due to an almost impossible convergence of mistakes, oversights, die flaws, planchet abnormalities, and striking anomalies, has reached a staggering market value of $30 million. Making it not only one of the most expensive nickels in history, but one of the most sought-after error coins in the entire numismatic universe. And it all began in a year that otherwise passed without major incident in the world of coin production, a year in which the Mint had already mastered the Jefferson Nickel standard design, a year in which the dies were stable, the planchet inventory routine, and quality control remained tight. Yet somewhere within this predictable system, chaos emerged in the form of a tiny metal disc that defied every expectation and challenged every rule of coin minting. And what makes the 1987 P5-cent coin so mind-blowingly valuable isn't just one isolated error, but rather a stunning combination of multiple rare mistakes, each one exponentially increasing its desirability, layered atop one another in a way that makes its existence statistically improbable, a freak occurrence that has become the stuff of legend. Beginning with one of the most visually jarring flaws ever seen in a modern nickel, a wildly rotated die alignment, which causes the obverse and reverse of the coin to be dramatically misaligned, with some authenticated examples showing a rotation of over 100 degrees, far beyond the thresholds normally tolerated by the Mint's quality control systems. And yet this coin passed through undetected, and the rotated die alone would be enough to garner collector interest. But this particular specimen, now dubbed the Million Nickel by those in the coin community, also displays unmistakable evidence of a double die on the obverse, especially visible in Jefferson's eye. The inscription, Liberty, and the date, 1987, were shadowy impressions of a second design layer slightly offset from the primary elements reveal that the working die was improperly hubbed during creation, and double die errors are among the most desired in the numismatic world because they occur at the die level and are thus permanently transferred to every coin struck until the die is retired. But few double dies have been documented in the 1987 nickel series, and none with the intensity or sharpness found in this specimen. And as if a rotated die and double die weren't enough, the coin also exhibits clear signs of an off-center strike, with the design shifted so drastically that parts of Jefferson's bust are nearly cut off at the rim, leaving a crescent of unstruck planchet on one side and squeezing the inscriptions into a distorted arc on the other. And the off-center strike alone adds hundreds, or even thousands of dollars to a coin's value depending on the severity. But this is no ordinary off-center strike. It exists in perfect harmony with the other layered errors, forming a cumulative masterpiece of minting failure. And adding to its uniqueness is the presence of a dramatic cut on the rim between the 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock positions, a thick blob of raised metal caused by a piece of the die breaking off, leaving a cavity that fills with metal during each strike. And in this coin, the cut has obscured part of the rim detail and bled into the fields, further distorting the coin and creating yet another layer of appeal for error collectors. And metallurgical analysis has revealed yet another fascinating twist. The planchet itself may not have been correctly manufactured, as its surface reveals unexpected streaks, micropitting, and an unusual color tone inconsistent with standard copper-nickel alloys, leading experts to theorize that this coin may have been struck on an improperly annealed planchet or even on a planchet intended for another denomination or foreign coin. And that kind of error, known as a wrong planchet strike, is extremely rare and adds tremendous value, especially when paired with other flaws as in this case. And when this coin first surfaced, it was mistaken by many as simply damaged or tampered with. But after passing rigorous scrutiny and authentication by the leading grading institutions such as PCGS and NGC, it was awarded not only a high mint state grade due to the coin's relatively preserved condition despite the errors, but also multiple designations for each of the documented mistakes: rotated die, off-center strike, double die, cud, and planchet flaw, each recorded in the grading notes. And what stunned the numismatic community was the realization that such a coin could even exist, let alone be preserved and authenticated. And the discovery of this coin set off a frenzy among collectors, who rushed to re-examine their 1987 nickels for any trace of similar characteristics. But so far, only one coin has ever been confirmed to bear all these traits together, suggesting that this piece was likely produced during an extremely narrow window of mint malfunction, possibly when a batch of dies were swapped incorrectly, the press was poorly calibrated, and planchets were misfed, all during a chaotic moment that lasted no more than minutes before the errors were corrected. And because so few coins can escape such a scenario before detection and disposal, the existence of even a single coin like this is miraculous, and when it went up for private auction, it ignited a bidding war between collectors, institutions, and wealthy investors eager to own a one-of-a-kind minting phenomenon, with offers climbing into the tens of millions before finally settling at a record-shattering $30 million, instantly making headlines across the numismatic and financial worlds. And now this coin sits not in circulation, not in a museum, but in the secure vault of a private collector who occasionally loans it to major exhibitions under high security, where it draws crowds and media attention like a celebrity, and its legend continues to grow, fueling rumors that there may be more undiscovered examples lurking in old coin jars, inherited collections, or forgotten bank rolls, waiting to be found by someone who knows what to look for. And now you know what to look for: those subtle signs of doubling, the telltale indicators of die rotation, the shifted designs of an off-center strike, the rough blob of a cud, the strange coloring that hints at planchet issues. All of these are red flags that a coin might be far more valuable than its face value suggests. And the beauty of this story is that it reminds us all that you don't need a rare gold piece or ancient artifact to find numismatic greatness. Sometimes, the most valuable treasures are hiding in the most unexpected places, disguised as everyday objects. And the 1987 P5-cent coin is the perfect embodiment of this idea, a symbol of imperfection turned perfection, of failure turned fortune, and of chance turned destiny. So as we wrap up this unbelievable journey into the anatomy of a multi-million-dollar error coin, remember to check your change, question the ordinary, and look closely at the forgotten, because history has proven again and again that the next great discovery could be sitting quietly in the palm of your hand. And as long as there are coins being struck and people paying attention, there will always be stories like this waiting to be told.